Okay, so goal setting. Who here has a goal? Okay. This guy had a goal, right? Tiger Woods. So his goals were, at one point in time, by a lot of people, considered to be pretty crazy goals. Who knows what his goals were? Harrison? To beat Jack Nicklaus's record of 18 major championships, right? Yeah, so what did he do? So he was a little kid, and he set this goal of beating Jack Nicklaus's record. So what did he do with his goals?
Wrote them all down.
He wrote them all down, and he put them somewhere where he could remember, so he could see them, right? So here you have this little kid, and Tiger Woods was considered to be a prodigy. 2 years old, he was on a TV show, like late night TV. It's called the Mike Douglas Show. And ever since he was this big, his father and his parents were saying he's going to be the greatest player of all time. So all of a sudden you got this guy, Jack Nicklaus. Now Jack Nicklaus was amazing. Jack Nicklaus was my idol. And Jack Nicklaus's records were considered to be like up here in the stratosphere, like not even touchable. So what do you think people were saying when this little kid, was saying, I'm going to beat all of Jack Nicklaus's records? What do you think? Yeah, they probably laughed. They probably said, oh, cute kid, oh, nice swing, but Jack Nicklaus's records, I mean, give me a break. But he knew that's what he wanted. So as it relates to goal setting, I know what I want, and I know how I'm going to get there. So how many people here know exactly what they want right now out of life? You're just kids, right? A lot of times you say, hey, man, I'm just a kid. Don't ask me such big questions. I just want to go out and play. But now is when it starts. It's okay to dream now. In fact, your dreams right now are going to be bigger probably than they are in the future. And we'll explain why here in a second. But right now is when you have to start creating the intention behind who you are and what you want to be. So who has something that's like really, really big? Anyone? What do you got?
I'm not in the sharing.
Not in the sharing? Okay, that's right. Anyone have something they want to share with us?
I'd like to get my
PGA Tour card. Okay, great. We'll explore that here in a second. All right, so goals give you a compass to direct your path through life. All right? And of course, Tiger had some pretty big goals. So as it relates to creating your ideal life or your ideal round of golf, we always start with what we call clarity. Clarity is deciding what we want. And there's a lot of different categories that we can ask ourselves questions as it relates to what we want. Here's some basic categories: golf, school, relationships, or other. Does anybody have any school-based goals? I know you do, Woody. You've been talking about it all week.
We always have goals.
Okay.
So most of us, I'm thinking, would like to achieve 100% as an average. Although I'm pretty sure 50% of my grade have already done that.
Okay.
Well, we're Asian. There's no surprise there.
All right. So what about beyond that? After you get done with high school.
College,
Okay.
probably get into UCLA, typical Asian college.
Okay.
UC Berkeley. Then the geniuses, Stanford, Oxford, Harvard.
Right.
That's about it.
Okay. And you have specific goals you've thought this through?
Yeah.
Okay,
we
you
have
can.
specific things we major in.
Okay.
It's like most people major in medical studies,
Okay.
doctors, or law like lawyers, and we also have finance, like
Okay.
accountants.
What about you? Have you thought about specifically what Woody wants?
I prefer biology.
Biology.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got some goals related to education that are related to biology.
Right.
Okay. So we have one golf-related goal, right? PGA Tour card. Okay. Anyone else? Any other goals? So you said that you have a goal, but you don't want to share it, right? So and that's fine. That's fine. Right. So what's the reason? What's the reason why someone might have a really big goal, guys? What's the reason why somebody might have a really big goal, and it's totally fine, you want to share it, but not want to share it? Why would you not just want to tell the world, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be that, I'm going to accomplish X, Y, or Z?
But they would do the same thing.
Which is?
They laugh.
Yeah. Maybe we're afraid of what the response might be. If we say we're going to do this, then our peer group might say, yeah, right. How could you do that? They might try and pull us back down. They might come up with every reason why you shouldn't do it. And those kinds of thoughts, those kinds of relationships might in some way, shape, or form diminish how we think and pull us back away from what we're looking for. And we'll talk more about that as well. So you guys know who Yogi Berra is?
Yep.
Not Yogi Bear.
Yep.
Yogi Berra?
Yep.
Who's Yogi Berra?
It's that
It's
bird.
so fast.
No, it's not the bear. No, it's the guy. Who's Yogi Berra? You know, you're a Yankees fan. Catcher for the Yankees. So, you know, real funny guy. Always had something to say to the press. So he basically said, he had all these little words of wisdom, right? But he said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. So we always start with clarity, asking ourselves, what do we want? And there's a lot of different places we can search for those answers. Okay. So let's say we know what we want. There are certain things that stop us from getting it, right? So I'm going to ask you guys a question. Let's go to golf for a second. I'm going to ask Emiliano. Okay. What's the lowest score you can imagine shooting in your entire lifetime under any circumstance? No, I'm asking Emiliano. 64. Okay, 64. Okay, somebody else. Edelberg.
62.
62.
18.
Connor, 18. All right.
17.
Now I should point out that Connor was in this discussion 2 weeks ago. All right. Matthew?
56, that's my course record.
56 is your course record? Okay.
Of course.
All right. Okay, Leo?
Part 3.
52? Okay, good. All right, so let's go ahead and let's switch the question just for a second. I know we're all young, but one day we're going to have jobs and careers, and they may or may not involve golf. So I'm going to ask you a question now. Charlie, what's the most amount of money you can imagine making in 1 year for the rest of your life under any circumstance?
Not sure.
Not sure? Well, it's your imagination. Can you imagine something?
Well, I mean, I'm not really sure.
Okay, just give me a number.
$1 million.
$1 million. Okay. Who else?
There's no limitation.
There's no limitations? All of it? Okay. Again, guys, they were here before. So, okay, so basically, all right.
If you put a number on it, that's mentally says it's bad.
Right. But so basically, okay, guys, listen to this. So everyone had different numbers here. So for example, last week we had a great kid in here, and we asked that question. And he said, as it relates to the golf, he said 75. That's the lowest score he could imagine shooting under any circumstance for the rest of his life. So here's the crazy part, right? He'd already shot 77, right? And he's 17 years old, and he's come into golf camp. He's got coaches everywhere, chipping, pitching, putting, driving, course management. And he can only imagine 2 less. So here's the thing. He's put a limitation on himself based on his experiences, right? And based on what his limitation is, what he decides, that's going to be probably the lowest he goes. Now, the cool thing, he actually sent us a letter after camp last week, and he talked about this particular talk and how it opened up his mind a little bit. And now he's pumped to go super, super low. And he didn't realize that he was thinking in a limiting way until we pulled that out of him. So Charlie, as it relates to the money thing here, this is just a game. This is just a hypothetical. You should be able to say, boom, all of it, 100 million, 5 million. But you kind of took a while to come up with a number. So why do you think it took you so long to come up with a number?
Well, because it says limitations up there.
Okay.
And I noticed that I didn't want to put a limit on it.
Okay. But you did. You started at $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what makes you think that $1 million, why wouldn't you go 5, 10, 15, 100 million, $1 billion, own Google? Like, why wouldn't you go like crazy? Okay, so there's an answer to that because, in his mind, he actually, even though he saw everything that was here, he changed the question from imagination to likelihood, to practicality. And that's what our camper did last week with his golf score. He changed it from imagination to likelihood or practicality. So all you guys here that threw out a number, now can you imagine just making one more putt in that round? Like the ball that's like sitting on the lip, can you imagine it just maybe just falling in if you stretch your imagination? Right? So then your number would be a little bit lower. So the thing is that the problem is that in life we've been conditioned to think in ways that revolve around the words practicality and likelihood. We've been trained to think this way. So the thing is that you guys are lucky because you're pretty young, which means you haven't been trained, so to speak, by society as much as people like myself or Aaron or Zach or your parents or your grandparents. So you have an opportunity to stop this nonsense right now and learn how to dream big and learn how to chase your dreams without these limiting lines of thought. So if we say imagination, if I ask like a really small kid, like a junior golfer that's like just getting started, I say, hey, what's the lowest score you can imagine shooting for the rest of your life? And a lot of them say, oh, 18. 18 holes, 18 shots, tee green, boom in the hole. All right?
No, 600-yard drive.
Yeah. Hey, it's imagination, right? Fantasyland. If we ask that same kid about the wealth number, a lot of times they say, oh, all of it. I can imagine having all of it. Be piled in my driveway, I'll just sit on top of it. I'll give some out because I'm a nice guy or a nice girl. But they can imagine all of it. So imagination shouldn't have any limitations. And the only limitations that we have are limitations that we create for ourselves. So limitations, they only exist in our minds.